Hey there, Professor, look what I brought. Now tell me what's my rock. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What's My Rock, the show where real people bring their real rocks to me, your geology professor, Dr. Abstract. I'm here with my new friend, Riki. And Riki, what town are you coming to us from today?
Warner Springs.
Warner Springs. Okay, so that's like on the way to Anza Borrego, right?
Yeah, it's right above it.
Yeah. So you are in eastern rural San Diego County.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right, good. Excellent. And may I ask what you do for a living?
I'm retired.
Retired. That's a great thing to do for a living. I want to retire and just make videos all day. That sounds fun to me, but I have to teach kids and it's fun. I like that. Don't get me wrong. What did you retire from?
The restaurant industry.
Restaurant industry. Okay, excellent. Good. Were you a cook? You were front of the house?
No, I worked. I did the whole thing. I started when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
I've done everything in the restaurant business.
Everything. Okay.
But I was forced to retire because of rebuilt foot with metal parts.
Oh gosh, because you're on your feet a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't work on my feet anymore. So.
I could have sworn I heard you say Cheesecake Factory too.
Yeah, I worked for them about 11 years.
11 years. Okay, I like Cheesecake Factory. This is not an advertisement for Cheesecake Factory, but I do like Cheesecake Factory. Okay, so why don't you let's get that little pile of rocks. This is the first group of things that you want to show us here. Okay, so let's have a look at these. So these rocks, so why don't you tell me where you found these if you remember?
Well, being retired, I got not much to do. We live in an 800-acre ranch, so I got dogs, so we go out and just go everywhere hiking. We've done the desert.
Okay.
These are just things I've come across hiking the dogs around in the desert and the backcountry.
Okay, so
where exactly which one came from, I really can't tell you, but
right.
All in the same general area.
So, and you mentioned that they're magnetic.
Yeah.
And so, why don't you show me, if you want to show me which one's the most magnetic? That one.
Wait.
Here's a way to do it.
Okay.
We can put what I like to do sometimes. I'll put it on its edge, like it's a little wheel.
Okay.
And then move it carefully up to the edge and see if you can get it to spin. There we go. Okay. So it knocked over a little bit. So it's a little bit of magnetism in there. And these are all from, you would say, San Diego County, sort of out, and maybe mostly in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are all what I would call plutonic igneous rocks. So there we call them, another word is intrusive igneous rocks. So these are magmas that, molten rock that's formed underneath the earth, and it cooled inside Earth's crust, very, very slowly. And when something cools very slowly, it gets these big crystals that are going to interlock with each other. And that's what we're seeing here. All these rocks are rocks that cooled very slowly from a magma. Well, no, volcanic would be if the magma hits the surface and comes out on the surface.
Okay, so they were in the magma under there.
Correct.
Okay.
They cooled before they had a chance to be a volcano.
Okay.
Right? Now, this part of San Diego County is famous for rocks that are called what geologists call the peninsular range, which are a series of granite. You've heard the word granite before. Yeah. So a series of granite-type rocks, granite-type intrusive rocks, or plutonic rocks, and usually they're going to be, if you want to get a little nerdier, they're called granodiorites and tonalites. A tonalite is a famous rock down there, which is mostly made of feldspar and quartz, plagioclase feldspar and quartz. I think that's what this is. This is probably a tonalite right here. That's probably nerdier than you needed.
Well, it tells me what it might be.
And this is another granite type rock, a granodiorite or something similar in that vein.
So what makes it magnetic? What's the metal that causes the magnetism?
The material that's probably making it magnetic is a mineral called magnetite.
That's like that's
really small grains in these rocks, not big grains, but enough to make a magnet move a little bit for sure. There's some dark grains in some of these rocks. These are mostly going to be hornblende, which is in the amphibole mineral family. Have you heard of any of these words before?
A couple of them from the book. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I just got a geology degree, so I've heard a couple of these names. Before that, I wouldn't have any clue what you're saying.
Geology has some of the weirdest words you will ever encounter in your life. One of them is hornblende and amphibole. So this is mostly going to be, this is a deposit, mostly amphibole and probably biotite, which is a mica. You've probably seen the word. That's a very common. Biotite and mica. A little bit of feldspar in there. Actually, we probably call that a gabbro technically. Anyways, that's basically what you have here. I mean, these are Probably, most likely, again, I'm never going to say 100% because I wasn't there. You were there, I wasn't there. So I don't know exactly where you found it, but judging from what you're telling me, where you live and where you hang out with your dogs, you said you had dogs, right?
Yeah.
These are probably plutonic rocks or intrusive rocks that cooled from a magma underground, and they're a part of the Peninsular Range, which is in San Diego County. And on top of them, by the way, like maybe 100 million years ago, there were volcanoes on top of it, but these are the ones that were underneath volcanoes. Yeah. So, and this is the same kind of rock that you would find all up and down through the Sierra Nevada. It's the same age, the same system of rocks, except we don't call it the Peninsular Range in Sierra Nevada. So that's what these are. So you'll keep seeing many of these.
Okay. I just wondered what they were. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's put those aside. Why don't you show me that green one here? All right. Now this is. Where'd you find this one?
Same place.
Same place.
Same area. It's all came from the same area.
Okay, this definitely is something that would catch your eye. First of all, it's green.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's going to be different from other things. And then it's just really complicated. It's got a lot of features in here that are many different colors. Some features are sticking out. Looks like there's some little pits that are going in there. So it's a very complicated rock. This is a rock that we call a calc-silicate rock. So calc is short for calcium, the element calcium.
Yeah.
And silicate meaning rocks that contain silicon and oxygen, silicate rocks. So where does the calc come from? The calc comes from calcium carbonate minerals, which we call calcite or dolomite, things like that.
I've heard of those. Yeah.
And those are in a rock type that we call marble or limestone. These rocks, these are actually related to each other, actually. We have these plutonic rocks. We have these magmas that are coming up. Silicate, the silica, comes from these rocks. So what happens is we have this big giant bit of limestone or marble, and these magmas come up through the surrounding limestones and marbles. These magmas are hot, and they're going to cook the surrounding marbles and limestones that they're moving up through. And so that interaction of the magma cooking the limestone creates chemical reactions, and it's going to take calcium from the limestone and the marble. It's going to mix it with silicate from the magma, and it's going to create these really cool rocks called calc-silicate rocks. So it's a type of a metamorphic rock, and it's formed by interaction of calcium from a surrounding rock with silicate from an intrusive magma. Okay, and so that means that the minerals in here are going to be mostly minerals that contain calcium and silicon. So that's going to be things like this greenish area probably has a lot of, microscopically, we would see a mineral called diopside, which is calcium magnesium silicate. That's a calcium silicate mineral. We're also going to get, there's probably a mineral in here called andradite, which is a garnet mineral, or grossular. Those are two garnets that contain calcium and silicon. So we're going to get minerals like that because of the interaction of all the chemistry. There's also almost certainly going to be some calcium carbonate mineral in here, probably a calcite that's going to be mixed in. It looks like this white stuff right here is probably going to be that, and that's going to fizz. So let's see if we can make that fizz. We take some acid. When I say fizz, that means fizz is an acid. So I've got my acid bottle here, and I'm going to put it on that spot right there, and let's see if that fizzes. And you see that it's fizzing?
Yep, fizzing.
Okay. Not wildly, but it's definitely fizzing. Actually, that's fizzing pretty good. That's making big bubbles, okay? So this is going to be some of the original calcite. That's the calcite that got mixed with the silicon and oxygen from the magma. And by the way, calcite dissolves in rainwater because rainwater is a very weak acid. And so these little zones right here.
That's where the water got in and dissolved it?
Does it slowly over, and when I say, I mean like over a few hundred years, maybe 1,000 years, rainwater gets in there and dissolves away this calcite, and it leaves behind these little holes, okay? Anyway, so this is a calc-silicate rock. It's got a little bit, some calcium veins in here. It's got some green areas that are probably going to be diopside plus quartz, probably going to be some feldspar in there. There might be a mineral called chlorite in there that sometimes shows up. That doesn't really have a lot of calcium in it, but it's pretty common in these kinds of rocks. But this is a cool rock. So again,
cool.
it forms by interaction of a magma with surrounding limestones or something like that. So it's pretty wild rock.
Yeah, it looked different than anything else I saw. I'm like, I might as well pick it up and see what it is.
Yeah, no, that's an eye catcher for sure.
Cool.
So okay, let's look at this last one you got here. Okay, why don't you tell me about where you found this one?
This is in a box of my dad's old stuff. He passed away in 2004, and he was in the Marines for 30 years. And there's a box with camouflage stuff and some canteens and stuff.
Okay.
And this rock was in there, and I'm like, I couldn't ask him what it was because he's gone.
Right,
so
right.
I have no idea why the rock was in it. Did he put it in there or someone? And the box sat for 30 years in storage. So that.
And he's in the Marines, so he went around the world.
He served in Korea and 2 tours in Vietnam. So he's been all over.
Interesting. Okay. And so he could have
found the yard, could have found it there. I don't know. I have no idea where it came from.
But did you know that did he collect rocks when he was stationed?
He had no interest in rocks.
He had no. So
I never seen him even look at a rock. I don't know.
Okay.
That's why I was just like, what the heck is this thing doing?
Yeah. So you think maybe he developed his interest in rocks when he retired?
He never had it. I didn't even know that was in the box. Didn't know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I knew nothing about when I opened the box 2 years ago. After it sat for 30 years, the rock was in there.
Okay.
He might not even put it in the box.
It could have been there for
its origins and no idea. And like I said, he's gone, so I couldn't say, why is this rock in this box? But he had no interest in rocks ever that I knew.
Interesting.
He played golf. That was his hobby.
He played golf.
When he wasn't at work at the Marines, he was a golfer.
All right. So that's fine. So that's common. We don't. So there's basically no context at all.
No idea where it came from.
So let's just have a look at it first. First of all, it's very dirty rock. Right. Some people probably think that's funny that we say a rock is dirty. Aren't all rocks dirty? But this has got a lot of like brownish oxidation on it. This looks like there's white stuff here that looks like it could have been like a clay mineral but it's like only on the outside. So it's like maybe it sat in the desert and developed a little bit of like a little rind on there. I see there's a little piece right there where the rock looks like this varnish is broken away. It looks like more of a dark rock on the inside. And this is dark here. So have you ever heard of something called desert varnish?
No.
So when rocks sit out in the desert for a long time, they can get a lot of this patina or this sort of a weathering rind on the outside, like this kind of brown stuff. And so I think this has been
cooked.
Cooked may not be quite the word. It's more like dirtied by the wind and by rain over a few thousand years sitting around. So, and it's a pretty dense rock. Let's go ahead and try. I'm going to try to put a little bit of acid on this little spot right here. Let's see if this. I don't think this is going to fizz. Yeah, there's no fizz on that. That means it's probably a silicate rock, not a carbonate, not a limestone or something like that. But that makes sense to me. That's what this feels like to me. It looks like someone tried to cut it right there. See that? That would have been your dad, though, if it was. One last thing I'll say about it is that it vaguely looks like there's some lines in it that go like this, right? They're kind of going in this direction. So that makes me suggest that this rock is what we call a schist or a gneiss. Geologists love the words schist and gneiss because we make a lot of bad jokes with those words, right? This looks like some kind of metamorphic rock. But because it's so dirty, it's hard to tell. So I'm going to propose that we go cut into it and see what it looks like on the inside. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right, let's go do that. Let's cut into this rock, and that'll give us a little bit more insight into what we're dealing with. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Good. To the rock shed we go. All right, we're out in the rock shed. We're going to cut this rock. Now, Riki, where would you like to cut it? Like, what should we? When it's cut, you don't care? Or?
No, whatever you want to do. I'm good.
Okay, I'm thinking we're going to cut it. Because if we're going to make a cut, let's make it useful.
Yeah.
Let's cut it like this. So first of all, it'll be a shorter cut, but when it's done, you can put it on your desk like that, and that'll look kind of cool, right? So because it's going to be flat on that side, right? Okay. All right. Let's come on here and cut it. So this is a tile saw, an MK101. They're not a sponsor of the show, but if they're watching this, you could be a sponsor of the show, and you get us a new tile saw at the university. This is a wonderful instrument, and this is a diamond blade, so it's got diamonds in there, and I'm gonna turn it on. It's gonna be loud, so we're gonna put our ear things on here. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, now we can see into it. So here we go. There's
Cool
our
looking.
kind of popped off like that, and it's very it's got a lot of, it's very mangled in there, right? It's
Yeah.
it's not even looking at all. It's but you can see these lines that are coming in here. There's a little bit of lines, and we'll go back and look at this in the light a little more. This is definitely a metamorphic rock. The question is, do we have a schist or do we have a gneiss or something? So we'll go have another look at this in the lab. Okay.
Cool.
All right. You want to hang on to those,
Sure.
and then I'll wash up and we'll have a look. All right. Well, we cut our rock, and we have our pieces that go together like that. The reason we want to do that is we want to see inside the rock where it's fresh, or at least fresher. First of all, I want to keep it wet because we can see the minerals. When it dries off, it gets kind of frosted. We can't really see what's going on very well. And we didn't polish it. We just cut it. So it helps to keep it wet. And so when we do that, you can have a look at that. You can see there's a lot of, there's sort of this pink stuff. There's some lines that go through right there. Those are not saw marks. That's a mineral layer in there. And it's just really blobby and mangled. It looks like it was like someone took in there and twisted everything up, right? That would be Mother Nature, I suppose. And we can look at this piece here. Let me wipe it off with a wet surface. And I think that one even looks better, like more mangled, right? It's easier to see it. There's all these pink areas that are curved and bent. And it's actually very chaotic, this rock. I thought it was going to be more simple in this rock, but this is not a very simple structure. It's highly, looks to me like I would use the word deformed. That's what geologists would say. It looks like a pretty deformed looking rock.
Yeah, so, the outside seemed like someone twisted it.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see these little blobs and there's sort of blobs and waviness on the outside. And by the way, let's see if it stands up. There we go. So now you have that. It's a nice desk decoration, right?
Perfect.
Okay. I think that my original impression that this is schist or gneiss. In fact, I'm going to say it's more of a gneiss, because the reason is because it seems to be even more highly metamorphosed than a schist would be. Now, the minerals that are in here, the pink minerals are probably going to be potassium feldspar. Those pinks right there, potassium feldspar. Minerals that we call orthoclase, maybe microcline. There's some dark minerals in there that are going to be almost certainly going to be biotite or hornblende. And then there's some gray minerals in there that are probably going to be, those are going to be quartz, maybe a little bit of mixture of plagioclase feldspar. So I think it's possible that this rock could be one of the older basement rocks. So when we say basement, that means underneath all this stuff is a very old Precambrian core of rocks that was here a long time before the peninsular range, before all the magma came in, before the limestone ocean. And it's possible that that's what this is. This is a chunk of basement, because it looks a little bit different from rocks I'm used to seeing around here. It doesn't look like an igneous rock. There's other metamorphic rocks, but this doesn't quite look like that. It really looks like old school basement.
So it's really old then, huh?
It could be.
Could be.
It might not be, but it could be Precambrian basement. Well, actually, wait a second. What am I talking about? You don't even know where this was found.
No.
So this could be from anywhere in the world.
It could be from anywhere.
That's right. So allow me to scratch that, because I forgot that. But it still, to me, looks like a metamorphic rock with quartz and feldspars, biotite, hornblende, very, very typical rock. Some people would call this an ortho-gneiss, which is a rock that was metamorphosed from an igneous rock, like these. Okay. That could be what's going on. Like, this used to be a pink granite, and it was metamorphosed through heat and pressure and through tectonic activity. It got crushed and deformed, and I think that's what we're dealing with here.
Cool.
All right, good. So let's review then. So we've got a pile of peninsular range intrusive rocks, sort of granitic type rocks. We call them, a general word would be granitoids.
Granitoids?
Granitoid. That means it could be granite, could be granodiorite, tonalite, all kinds of things that it could be. But We have a calcsilicate rock with what we call differential weathering. That means that some parts weather differently than others, including there's probably calcite in there, and this probably contains diopside, quartz, feldspar, probably some andradite or grossular garnet, maybe some chlorite, maybe some epidote, things like that, calcium silicate minerals. And then finally we've got, and this one is common around these parts. So both of these are local. And then we have this rock of unclear origin, but appears to be a metamorphic, pretty high grade metamorphic rock with some weathering around it of unknown origin. If it's from around here, then it's probably very old rock if it's from around here. All right.
All right.
Any last words?
No, just happy to know what some of this stuff is.
All right. Well, I hope I'm right then.
Cool.
So I think that's what we got here, though. These I'm sure, this one's a little weirder. It's more deformed than I thought. It's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on in there. I thought we were going to get more clear-cut lines, which we call foliations, but we didn't see them. So, but I don't know. Nature doesn't care. She's just made a rock for us, and
cool.
we'll do our best. So,
All
Riki,
right.
thank you
very
so much. All right. All right, Dylan. Well, what do you think about Riki's rocks? Let's start with the first one, the handful of the small stuff.
Agree with you on a lot of them being plutonic.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, like a couple of them, the darker ones, they almost look like they also could be, though, like a porphyritic andesite.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another possibility. Though from San Diego County, I don't know their geology as well, so I don't know if, per se, if like any porphyritic andesite in that area, but it could be. There's some along the beach, I think.
There's the Santiago Peaks.
Yeah.
Those are andesitic volcanoes. I mean, it makes sense because, what's cool about these rocks, they're very common in Southern California, but they're fossilized guts of volcanoes is really what they are. They're all the magma that didn't graduate to becoming a volcano. It froze in the crust. And so above all those things are these volcanics. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I was talking to Riki in person, I just said they're all plutonic. But as I was looking microscopically at one of the rocks, it did look like more like an andesite. I could see it looked like a fine-grained ground mass with a little plagioclase phenocryst in it. But that makes sense to have that there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you get these granites with little erosional remnant chunks of the old volcanoes that used to be on top of them. So, you ever rock hound down in San Diego County?
Not as of yet, but I have plans hopefully soon. In particular, Paula is definitely on my list, but there's other places I wouldn't mind checking out.
Tourmaline City down there.
Yeah.
I did a nice field trip once. We went down and looked at a lot of tonalites, and we looked at the Santiago Peaks. We looked at some really nice tourmaline deposits. Shoral, just not the fancy pink stuff, but there's some nice shoral deposits there, and it's fun. It's fun going down there. So you should go, and then you get a pie at Julian.
Oh yeah.
Apple pie. All right. Any last comments about those rocks? They're pretty.
Yeah, they didn't look like they were weathered all too much, just because they were kind of angular, so fresh, close to source, but that's about it.
That's about it, yep. Okay, good. The Cretaceous igneous rocks of San Diego County. The next one was the greenish calcsilicate thing. You run into those a lot?
Only, I think Lytle Creek might have some, is what I've heard. I need to go out there and check that out. But I know that when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, that looks like skarn, the calcsilicate. Definitely. And then when you were doing the testing, I was like, okay, you're pretty much confirming my suspicions.
Yeah, that's right. Calcsilicate rock. You can call it a skarn. Some people will probably put in the comments that it's a skarn. That's fine. Calcsilicate is more of a generic term.
Broad.
But those are. I like calcsilicate rocks because the mineralogy is very interesting, and we can use phase diagrams really well to determine pressure and temperature. So I like to nerd out with those kinds of rocks. Those are very satisfying. You get all kinds of really weird minerals that are very satisfying from a nerd perspective.
Yeah.
And the last one, the metamorphic.
Metamorphic. That one, man, that was a tough one in my opinion. You know, like I didn't really see much on the foliation, but it's like you could kind of tell from some of the textures, like this is a metamorphic. But from there, you know, if he would have come up to me, I would have probably put my hands up to be like, this is just some sort of metamorphic. And I couldn't get more specific, but I could see like maybe a schist that's crazy weathered. And
I can't. I need to see more of it. So here's the rule for schists and gneisses, in my opinion. I'm sure someone will disagree with me, but I'm the professor. I get to do what I want. A schist is a high-grade metamorphic rock that has aligned mica grains, but when it breaks along the foliation planes. So it breaks very easily. It doesn't break easily, but when it does break, it will break along these relatively flat surfaces, or they might be buckled, but it'll break along these surfaces, right? A gneiss is beyond that, where even though it has foliations in it, when you break it, it will break randomly, as if the foliations aren't even there, right?
Yeah.
And so that to me that's the schist to gneiss transition is where the rock breaks.
Okay.
The problem with the rock he gave us is that it just wasn't a big enough sample to make that determination. You know, I'm not going to destroy the rock that his dad had just for nomenclature purposes. Is it a gneiss? Is it a schist? It's a high-grade metamorphic rock. It's one of those for sure, in my opinion. And you could see the twisted grains that were in there. You could see a little bit of foliation and highly deformed, pink potassium feldspars in there. So that, but who knows where? I was going on about it, and then I realized, oh wait, we don't even know where this comes from.
Yeah, sometimes like when our guests come in, it's like we ask questions about where it's collected, and we kind of get a sense of like, okay, we know the geology may be in that area, but in this case, it was just like, good luck.
That's right. He did mention he was in Korea, so I'd like to think that is a rock that he took from North Korea, that he crossed the DMZ. Or his dad must have been older. He could have been, maybe he served in the Korean War. And so maybe this is a rock he brought back from North Korea when Kim Il-sung was still alive. That's the great leader, followed by the dear leader, Kim Jong-il, followed by Kim Jong-un. That's more North Korea than I think we need on this show anyways. So there we go. It's a North Korean high-grade schist, or high-grade orthoschist. Anyways.
And if you think differently, let us know.
That's right. Let us know. But for the record, those rocks are not that rock, that the pink feldspar high-grade metamorphic rock. I don't see a lot of those around here. So could be basement rock, and those tend to be Precambrian. So it could be really, really old craton style material. But we just don't know. Can't say. But he liked his rocks. I liked having Riki in. He's retired. He does what a lot of retired people do. They'll pick up rocks, and you have the time to think about it. And so I'm glad we could help him out.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Not right now.
Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you learned something. We did. And we'll see you next episode. I'm Dr. Abstract. This is Dylan. If you'd like to be on What's My Rock, please send us an email at whatsmyrock@yahoo.com. And in the meantime, happy rock hounding, and we'll see you next episode. Take care.
Yeah, I've seen it all. That's why they call me a professional. I know you're proud of what you got, but this rock ain't worth diddly squat. I'm not saying that you'll never be wealthy, but this preoccupation doesn't seem healthy. Don't give up your day.